Playbook here. Welcome to day 21 of our starting a software company in 100 days project. Pretty excited about the progress we've made, but I am starting to get a little bit nervous that we have bitten off a little bit too much complexity here. And so let's take a look at Figma. So Figma is a really powerful design tool we use. I'm very more than impressed with Figma and the functionality that's available in their web app. So really excited about using Figma. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to show you some of the different components. So if this is your first time watching a video, um, Playbook is a tool for creating checklists, workflows, processes, really to help take a lot of the chaos out of your business. And instead of spending time working on chasing down these repetitive processes, putting them in place, making them recurring, standardizing them, so the people in your business can focus on getting their work done, and then the business as a whole can focus on spending more time on creative tasks that do more to get more leads, get more prospects, get more customers, make happier customers. If you can standardize these processes, I think at the end of the day you can add more value to your business. So I'm going to show you a couple screens here that are in our Figma prototype. Somebody who's a Figma expert is probably going to be like pulling their hair out when they're seeing me click around versus using the really powerful keyboard shortcuts, but that's the nature of the beast. So I do have a little bit of work to get used to on the interaction in the UI and specifically the keyboard shortcuts in Figma. But that's a story for another day. So here's all the different components that can be added to a task. They're all shown in basically one big menu here. And the goal of this is to show two states. This is a state that the user sees when they're creating each one of these components. So for instance, let's look at this one, a linear scale. So we could say, if the job is to go and inspect apartments, and I think I brought up this example before, but inspecting apartments after somebody moves out on their last day, they could put apartment cleanliness is the title, or let's say that's the oven, the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom. What's the cleanliness level? 1 to 10, and they could say 1 is terrible and 10 is perfect. So then if you go over what does this linear scale look like to the person who's completing the task, here it is. They can select whatever the scale is, 1 to 10. Then there's also this checkbox grid, so you can have multiple rows and multiple columns of data. And so here's what that looks like to the user. And so coding this up in these type of flexible components in the database, I knew it was going to be some work, and it looks like this might be on the cutting board for the Playbook MVP on whether or not we're going to be able to finish these out. But I'm hopeful. We're working with a pretty powerful team and a pretty powerful developer that's building on the back of Ruby on Rails, React, GraphQL, some really powerful open source tools. And so I'm hopeful that we can make that happen. But here's what I wanted to do with you today, and an exercise more, just as much for myself, is here we're on day 21. So we've laid the building blocks of a lot of the database structure. We've started building the UI for a number of these components, but we still have a lot of stuff to do. We have invitations for adding team members. We have authorization for different team members. We have setting up recurring tasks, all of the background jobs and the cron jobs that are involved with firing those off. Just a ton of work left to do. And so here's what I'm thinking for the next few days. So not this following week, but shortly thereafter. So we're going to work one strong week and see where we get on finishing this portion of the app. And so by day 30, I really want to be able to create a process, be able to see the UI, have the database in place, and that is really the goal. So, I'll just put goal building out a process. And if we can't do that, no, then we know we may need to cut the scope. So one quick comment here. If you want to comment below the video, and do you get value out of me typing this on the screen? Because obviously I can't type as fast as I can talk. I thought it would be, a nice pairing to me talking in these videos, and it's a way for me to memorialize some of these thoughts. So if you find the typing to be distracting, just comment, let me know what you think of that. Anyway, so day 30 is when our goal is going to be, building out a process. And if we run into any big hurdles there, we may need to cut the scope of the project. So by day, let's just say it's somewhere in day 32, 33, we're going to work really hard at defining the rest of the scope. So starting to take a lot of the foundational work we put in place here and build it out into more concrete tasks. So doing that along with the developer, defining tasks and scope is what we need to get done here in a little over a week and a half. And I'm starting to get a little nervous that we've bit off a little too much for this MVP because we have a lot of the business logic to build out yet. Like I said before, user authorization, pricing, building out the subscriptions and Stripe, the sales site. We have a lot of stuff to do here, and this process, this right here is the building block of the application. This is what we have to do first. This is the application in itself, and so my goal is going to be here by day 30 that we're able to build a process with all of the visible pieces of UI, all of those individual components that can go into a task, be able to fork, do a fork on a decision and add that conditional logic into the process design, the task design. And so, pretty darn nervous that we're going to be, not be able to, that's a terrible highlight. Pretty nervous that we're not going to be able to do everything I wanted to do in that initial task building because I don't want it to just be a simple checklist. I want it to be really highly flexible, almost have every task be a form, and then have conditional logic be able to hide and show different sets of tasks based on predefined business conditions that users can enter. So really at the end of the day, getting a little nervous, but we're still making good progress. And next week I'll have more details for you if it looks like we're going to meet this goal. So just thank you for following along in our journey at Playbook as we're building out a tool to help manage processes, take chaos out of business, and at the end of the day, build more valuable businesses. And so would love to have you subscribe and accept notifications and follow along. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Hello, there's the cat. Hi, cat. See you later.